Hello students, I hope you all are doing well. This is Manisha Sharma and I hope you are taking care of yourself and your family. Stay safe. So in this lecture, we will talk about the last topic in the spotting error exercises that we are doing. So we will talk about tense. This is a very important topic considering English grammar. Tense you will see in every competitive exam. Either you are given your spotting the errors, or you can be even asked to fill in the blanks. So this becomes a very important topic. So that's why I have bifurcated this in two parts. In first part, we will discuss about all the types of tense with respect to simple and basically continuous. So that we will talk, and in the next part we will talk about perfect and perfect continuous. Alright, so without any further delay, let's begin with the video. Now talking about tense, what is the meaning of tense? So tense is a time of a verb's action or its state of being, such as present, something that is happening now. So there are three types of tense, that is present, past and future. So when you're talking about present, that means something that is happening now. For example, here it is present, it's past, and here it is future. So when I'm saying something is happening now, in past what it will become? Something that has happened before now. Alright, and future means after now. Okay, when talking about past means something that has happened earlier, or future when something is going to happen. So these are called verbs time frame. Now there are two components that are there in tense, that is time and aspect. With respect to time, what do you see? You see all these: present, past and your future. Past, present and your future. Alright. While if we talk about aspect, there can be two types. One is progressive and another is perfective. In progressive, we are basically talking about an uncompleted action. Means if you are talking about past or in future or in present, there is some action that is still basically going. That means it is not completed yet. While if we talk about perfective, as the name suggests, perfective means the action that you must have carried out in past or in present or in future that is complete. Alright. So progressive means something that is referred to as uncompleted action, and in your perfective, that means the action has been completed. So let's see example how with respect to your all the tenses, your progressive and perfective will be used. So in time, when we talk about simple, like there is nothing that you have to just form, like in past what the form will be, in present what the form will be, and in future what the form will be. So sang, sings and will sing. So this becomes your time. While if we talk about aspect, progressive means it is still continuing. Was singing. It is not said in the sentence that she has stopped singing. It is singing, was singing, is singing, alright, or will be singing. While if we talk about perfective, had sung means the song that she was singing, she had completed that action. Has sung in respect to your present, and will have sung, that means with respect to your future. So this is how, with respect to your tense, two things should be kept in mind. One is time and another one is aspect. Alright. Now moving towards the types of tense. So there are three types: present, past and future. In present, there are four more categories that you bifurcate your present tense or your other tense as well, that is past and future. So in present, what it is there? Present simple tense. There are certain rules that you have to follow while you have to see present simple tense, then continuous, and perfect continuous. These two are related. So in today's video, with respect to all of the three tenses, we will cover present simple, past simple, future simple, and present, past and future continuous. So these we will cover. Alright. Talking about your forms of verb. So there are three forms of verb, that is verb 1, verb 2 and verb 3. In your like coming slides, I will be using verb 1, verb 2, verb 3. So what does verb 1 means? Verb 1 means that base form of the verb, that this, beg. And I'm talking about verb 2, that means form of verb 2, second form of verb. And past participle, here past it should be. Past participle means third form of verb. So while I'm using this verb 1, verb 2, you should understand which form of verb I'm talking about. When I'm talking about regular verbs, it is basically it ends with ed or d. Alright. While if I talk about irregular verb, that means past and past participle form, both the two forms, verb form second and form third, they are different. So when I say be in the present, in past it will be was, were or been. in your past participle. Here do, did, done. Okay, so all the three, they are different. So that is the reason they are irregular verbs. So I hope you must have understood that there are three forms of verb. We also discussed this in detail in your verb class. Alright. Moving to your present tense. What is the meaning of present tense? It is a verb tense used to describe a current activity or state of being. So depending on which way we form the present tense, it can also be used to describe things that happened in the past or even certain events that are planned to happen in the future. Alright, like is going to happen. These things that you are referring, but in the present sense, but what you are referring to it, that it will happen, there are certain events that are bound to happen in future. So with respect to that, you will use your present tense. Like Rock wants to sing. Alright, Rock wants to sing. Bill writes the letters. Or Peter is coming to our place. Bob has given the book to Ellen. Or these all the rules that we, like this example that I have taken, I will also explain like with respect to which type of tense you will use has, have, or your was verb and all the auxiliary verb. Alright. Moving to number one type of your present simple tense. In present tense, first we will talk about present simple tense. So what is the meaning of present simple tense? For present simple tense, the structure of the verb will be your subject, that is I, he, she, if you can use pronoun, verb first form, alright, or you can say base form, that you will use. So subject plus verb first form, that will be your present simple tense. So it uses the base form of the verb. Now there are three things with respect to which we basically understand our present simple tense. Number one is general time, action verb. Situations now, stative verb like believe, achieve. These are the stative verb that we will also discuss in our next slide, like what are the types of stative verb and how they are different, how they are only used with present simple and not with continuous. That also we will discuss. Now with respect to positive sentences that we use in our present simple tense, how the verb will look like. So subject will be there like he, she, it, I and that, and the main verb present simple, simple as that, like you are on the roof. Now you should also understand, like with first person, there are three type of person: first, second and third. In first, what will come? I. Second, you, he, you, or that, we. This will include in second. In third, it will be he, she, it. So now understand that when you are given I, you, we, they, the first form, you will use verb first form as it is. But when you are given he, she, it, what you will do with verb first form, you will also use s or es, depending like which form. Like if we talk about do, then what you will do to basically convert it into s, you will use do का क्या हो जाएगा, does. Alright. Now second, in negative and your question sentences, how you will use your simple present tense. Subject will be there, then do or does, and the main verb, that is the base form of the verb. For example, in your question sentences, that is the interrogative sentences, what you will say, are you on the roof? Here is the subject and are you on the roof, that you have said, and you aren't on the roof. This becomes your negative sentence. Alright. So I hope it must be clear, like when to use your positive, like when to your auxiliary verb that you are using, how you should use with your different type of persons that you are using. So verb first form, that will be there, and with respect to your persons, you will see if you will have to use yes, s or es. Okay, like here do will become does. So let's see some example. In positive sentences, what you will say, I, you, we, they like coffee. Now he, she, it likes, s will come. He likes coffee, she likes coffee, or it likes coffee. I, you, we, they. Now in negative sentences, how you will see, I do not like coffee, or he does not like coffee. He do not will not come. He does not, she does not. So your verb will change, auxiliary verb, that will change with respect to the person that you are using, the subject. Okay. Now in question sentences, what you will say, do you like coffee, and here does she like coffee, or does he like, or does it. Alright, I hope it must be clear with respect to your person which verb will you use. Okay. Now moving to your present continuous tense. So as the name suggests, continuous means something, there is an activity that is still continuing in your present. So what is the meaning of present continuous tense? It is made from the present tense of the verb be, and you will use ing with it. So for example, if there are certain you can say bifurcation that we can made in present tense and the way we are using the verbs. Let's see, with respect to your number one, that is activities when at the moment of speaking, what the sentence will be. I am just leaving work, I'll be home in an hour. The action that is there, it is still continuing, but it in the present form only. I am just leaving work, that the person is saying. I'll be home in an hour. All right, so that means the work, it has not been completed yet, but he's saying I am just leaving the work. Please be quiet, the children are sleeping. The process, that means it is still continuing. So this is, there you will use your present continuous tense. Number one thing, subject will come, and with verb first form you will use ing, base form, or you can say first form. So with that you will use ing. Only this thing has changed. All right, so when you are talking about future plans or arrangement, what you will say? Mary is going to a new school next term. What are you doing next week? That is your what are you doing. All right, we may question by putting am, is, or are in front of the subject, like are you listening, are they coming to your party, is like is you will used with certain other your persons. So that is how your auxiliary verb that can come in your like subject as well, and you can make questions with that, question sentences. Last is we can make negative by putting not or an apostrophe t after am, is, or are. For example, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that, you can use that. Or you aren't listening, that means you are not listening, that will become. So I hope this must be clear. Like with present continuous, what you will use? Subject plus verb first form and ing you will use. So what are stative verb that I was mentioning in your simple present tense? So what is the meaning of stative verb? So stative verb basically they talk about a general condition. All right, so we do not use stative verb with your continuous. We use it mostly with your simple present tense only. So let's see what are the types of stative verb. Talking about number one, verbs of thinking and feeling, stating something like I believe, I dislike, I love, hate, prefer, realize. So these are the type when you're talking about feeling or some thinking you are doing. I understand. All right, you won't say I understanding, that will become incorrect. That's the reason with continuous tense your ing, that is your stative verb, will not come. Or verb of the senses second, appear, feel, look, seem. So that is means something that you are talking about in sensing, you're sensing something. All right, smell, sound, taste. So with your five senses that you know. All right, something that is concrete. While others, if we talk about agree, be, belong, disagree, need, or, so these are other these are other form that are included in your stative verb. Now let's see example like why you cannot use it in your present continuous tense and why you use it in your simple present tense. Let's see. So I understand you. You won't say I am understanding you. You're sitting with your friend and like he tells something, he's basically telling you something. Now you won't say I am understanding you. That becomes totally incorrect. All right. You say I understand you, but thing is you should do this. Or you can say I understand you, but you have to make up your mind. Like these are the type of thing that will be used only with simple present tense and not in your present continuous tense. All right, so this cake tastes wonderful. Okay, you won't say this cake is tasting wonderful. It becomes a very incorrect thing. When you have tasted the cake, what you will say? This cake tastes wonderful. You won't use ing, the continuous form of verb. That means the action is still continuing. You have already tasted the cake and now you are basically the action is completed here. So you won't continue it. In continuous tense, what we do? We are stating something that that the work or the action that was being done, it is still continuing. All right, I am leaving, I am sleeping, the children are sleeping. So there you will use your present continuous tense. I hope it must be clear why you don't use stative verb with your present continuous tense. All right. Moving towards past tense. What is the meaning of past tense? Something that the action that we are referring to that has happened in past. So we use past tense verb to refer to states or action that happened in past. These verbs indicate that an action or state began in past. Alright. Depending on the type of past we use, we also indicate that the action or state ended in the past, or it didn't end and continues to happen right now. Alright. So why now some of the reasons why we use your past tense, like to state an action that ended in past, that can be one way, or to say that a past action occurred before another past action, like past action before one past action. To explain that a past action state was the cause of another past action, that there also you can use past tense. Or to say that a past action state was in progress, but that means something was happening, but in between that something happened, some other thing happened, or before it was interrupted or it ended. Or to state the action in the past and still hasn't stopped happening in the present. That means the present that you are saying, it still hasn't stopped happening in the present. All right. Now let's see some examples. Bill attended the program. Bill attended the program. That means the action has completed. Tom performed in the show. Now here it is basically showing that you are using your past tense, but the action is still continuing. Alice was practicing on the tennis court. So this is when the continuation happens. There also you will use past tense. Let's see let's see the types of past tense. The two that we talked about present as well. That is simple past tense and your past continuous tense. Now simple past tense means subject plus verb second form. What is the verb second form? When I say beg, the second form will be begged, and the third will be also begged. So the second form of verb that you will use, subject plus verb second form. So we use the simple past tense to tend to refer to action or state that happened in the past and are finished or completed. Remember this, when the action that has happened, that means it has happened and it is completed, just like in the present tense, but the simple present tense that we were talking about. Like Samantha played baseball or basketball. That indicates that Samantha started and finished playing basketball sometime in the past. Alright, so she isn't playing basketball. The action that was there, that you mentioned in the past, it is not continuing now. So that is the reason your simple past tense, it will include your completed action. Okay. The simple past tense of regular verb, so that I already discussed which form of verb you will use, and I also showed you how regular and how irregular verb will be used. So with regular verbs it will be D or ED. Now let's see to be verb, that is was, were, where you will use. So when the your subject, it is in plural, it is in singular form, so you will say I was, you were, he, she, it was. When it is in plural, you will say you were, they were. So in plural form, you, we, you, they, that will come, and in singular form, I, you, and he, she, it. Now you can say in plural and as well as in plural. Only auxiliary, basically you can say only person where you can use you, were. With respect to your singular and with respect to your plural, your were will come with you only. You won't use you was, you were will only come. Okay. Now talking about how you will write the simple past tense in your 3 sentences, which is in form of questions, in form of negative statement, or in form of negative question. So that is, did you go to the store yesterday? Past action, it is being shown, but here did means do, did. Second form of verb you are using. Did you go to the store yesterday? And number one thing is, now in front of subject you are using your verb before your subject. So did you go to the store yesterday? Alright. So that is the past tense of the verb, that is irregular verb, that is do. So to start the sentence together with the present tense of the verb, go in the later question. Alright. Now here you are using present, and here you have already basically in the form of question that you are using, there you are using your second form of verb. Negative statement. To create negative statement in the simple past tense, you often insert the past tense of word do with the word not. Let's see. The research study did not conclude that longer school days lead to greater student achievement. Alright, the research study did not means the study has already occurred and you are explaining that it did not conclude, that longer school days, they lead to higher, greater student achievement. All right. Talking about negative questions where you will use not. So you often start the sentence with didn't, did not, or didn't. Apostrophe s, apostrophe you can use, and with respect to that you can use your not coupled with the present or past. It's like, for example, why didn't. First did, do, second form did, and then you are when you are saying in the form of question, but in the negative sense. Why didn't you do your homework last night? All right, past and your negative question, in the form of negative question it is. So I hope you must have understood in your simple past tense how we modify your sentences with respect to your basically verbs. So verb will be second form of verb and subject will be there, and on the basis of subject you will also change your auxiliary verb. Only you were the basically singular and plural where were used, and other you changed your singular and plural. All right. Talking about past continuous tense, like in present continuous tense we talked about that something that is happening at the moment. So that means in the past the action was undertaken and it is still continuing, like in the now moment. So the subject, the structure of the verb, how it will be: subject plus was, were, and verb first form plus ing. All right. So for example, difference between simple past and past continuous, how you can basically understand. I did my homework at 7 o'clock, that you said. This sentence means that I finished my homework at 7. That means sometime prior to your 7 o'clock the student must have started his work, but at 7 o'clock he has completed. That means the action is done. While if we talk about past continuous, what does it indicate? The same example we can take in past continuous as well. I was doing my homework at 7 o'clock. That means what it indicates, that the student still has not completed the work. That is still continuing. So this sentence means that I was in the middle of doing my work, but I started before 7 and continuing doing after 7 as well, since it has not mentioned that the action is completed or not. So with respect to your past continuous tense, the action is still continuing. All right, it started in past, but it is still continuing. All right. So let's see in which type of your sentences you will use. So an action in the past which overlap another action or time. So like, let's see this example. At 3 o'clock I was working. I started before 3 o'clock and finished after 3 o'clock. It is not mentioning when the person has completed. It is just saying at 3 o'clock I was working. That means before 3 o'clock he was working, and now also he is working. So that is the reason, something that means which overlaps your action or time. So the action in the past continues, start before and often continues after the shorter time or action. Or you can say I was walking to the station when I met John. So the walking, that means he was still walking before he met John, and maybe he must have continued afterwards meeting John. Alright. Second thing is, we can use the past continuous for the background of a story. Like the birds were singing, the sun, like in story we say, once upon a time I went there, once upon a time there was a king, and in his kingdom everything was good, the birds were singing, or the sun was shining. All right. So when you are mentioning the background of the story, there you will use your past continuous as well. Third is temporary habits. What are the habits? When we use words like always, constantly, or forever, that means some habit you are mentioning. So it can be temporary or just as habit only. So this is the same as the way used in the present continuous for habits. So the habit, but here the habit started and they finished in past. This thing doesn't happen now. He was always leaving the tap running. Example, he was always leaving the tap running. Always. That means some habit it is there, and with respect to your past continuous tense it has been used. He was always leaving the tap running. She was constantly singing. Constantly, habit. She was constantly. So always remember these three words: always, constantly, and forever. With respect to this, you will use your past continuous tense. And what will be the past continuous tense? First, was is used with he. That is correct. Here, leaving. That means leave plus ing. So leaving will become leaving the tap running. Okay. Now here, fourth, the last one, to emphasize that something lasted for a while. This used to often this is used often optional, and we use it with time expression like all day, all evening, for hours. That means when you are using these words all day, all evening, and 4 hours, it indicates that something was there that lasted for some time. Like I was working in the garden all day. It has not stated which time the person started working, but here it is saying that I was working in the garden all day. That means something that is lasting for a while. So with your present continuous tense, you must remember the action will continue. Whatever it began in your past, it is still continuing. Alright, so with respect to that, we are using your past continuous tense. Now let's move to our future tense. What is the meaning of future tense? Something that you are telling about your future. Alright, something that might happen in your future. So the verb, the future tense of verb, they expresses events or actions that have not yet happened and that will happen at some point in the future. So there are two, basically you can say modal auxiliary verbs that you use, will or shall. Let's understand where you will use will and where you will use shall. So it will be will, shall, and infinitive will not come. What is infinitive? When you use to, eat, to sleep. So with respect to that, it will not come. We are just talking about will or shall, with which first, with which person your will or with which person will your shall come. Okay, so when talking about will, it is used with all the person, that is I will, he will, she will come soon, or will you get me that pill. It can be used in the question form as well. Alright, sorry. And here, it probably won't snow tomorrow. It probably won't snow. We will, they will help you. So will, it will be used with all the persons. While if we talk about shall, then shall is used only with I and we. That is, shall I close the door? Shall we go to the theatre? Shall he? Shall will not come with he, they and we. He, they. But shall will come with I and we. I hope it must be you must have understood, like with which form of person we will use will and with which form we will use shall. Okay. Now let's move to your future simple tense. What is included in your future simple tense? So the future simple tense, it is often called will tense, and because we make our future simple tense with modern auxiliary verb. So there are three forms that you will use. Number one is going to. Subject is MR and verb first form. There you will use. We are going to buy a car, example. Alright. That means when something you are saying something that you are going to do. So with respect to that, subject will come, is MR will come, and verb first form will come. That is base form. When we talk about present continuous, in the future tense on future simple tense only, how you can use with respect to your present continuous, it will be subject is MR plus verb ing. Alright, something that is continuing. There you will use. Like I am having lunch with my parents on Saturday. You are explaining a certain event that is going to happen on Saturday, but what you are using present continuous, that is I am having, but here you are using on Saturday, that means in future. So that is the reason present continuous second form will be there. Well, if we talk about will, subject will plus verb first form. I will give you ride. You won't say I will give you ride. No, here first form will come. Or I will eat this salad. I will eat salad. Okay. So with respect to your future simple tense, there are three things that you have to remember. Number one is going to. When something is going to happen in future, so it will be subject plus is MR plus verb first form. But when it is used in context of present continuous, verb plus ing will be used. But with your subject that you have to use, and you have to show like in future what it is going to happen. And with respect to will, you will use verb first form only. Alright, and we have already understood with respect to your I and we shall be used, but will can be used with all the persons, all the basically that is given in your sentences. Okay. So let's discuss about future continuous tense. What is the meaning of future continuous tense? Here also in continuous, what you are saying, something that is still happening. Okay. So the future continuous tense, it is often used in English as a way to talk about something happening at a given point in the future. That means something is going to happen in the given point of, like, I will be playing tennis at 10 a.m. tomorrow. First of all, I will be playing. That means the person is talking about future. Or how it you can convert this in past tense. I was playing tennis at 10 a.m. yesterday. This can become in past. Yes, past continuous. So when you can mold the sentences with respect to your tense, you have understood the concept. So that is how you must know this topic very clearly, because you should identify which form of verb should be used, or which tense is this in, basically which tense it is, the sentence is given, it is in present or it is in past. First you will identify if it is given in present, then all the four things that you have to see, like if it is given in present, then which form is used, it is simple, perfect continuous, or perfect continuous. All right, so once you understand the chronology, you will be able to easily identify the sentence correctly. All right, now structure of the future continuous tense, how it will be, it will be subject plus will and then be, your auxiliary verb, that is will be, and plus base plus ing, that will be used. So will be playing, play के साथ क्या यूज हो गया, ing, that means main verb base form plus ing, that will be used. See, all the things, if you see in your present or in your past or is in your future continuous, the only thing that has changed is your auxiliary verb, and also your here this will remain same, base plus ing. In present also it was same, in past also it was same, and in future also it is same. The only thing that has changed is your auxiliary. Okay, now negative sentences and your in question sentences and your positive sentences, how you will use your will, that is the future continuous tense. So for negative sentences in the future continuous tense, we insert not between will and be. So you will not say will be not, this is incorrect, totally incorrect. You will say will not be, that is correct. Okay, let's see some examples. In positive sentences, how you will say, I will be working at 10 a.m. I will be. You will be lying on the beach tomorrow. In the negative, how you will use, she will not be. She will be not, that is incorrect. She will not be using the car, or we will not be having dinner at home. In question, what you will say, will you be playing football, or will they be watching TV? That means after your auxiliary verb, you are using subject and then you are using verb, your be. See, in your negative sentences, you will say will, here not, and here be. But when in your question sentences you are using, what you will use? You will use will and the subject, and here be will come. Remember that always. Here the subject is there, then will, and then not, and be. In your positive sentence, it is simple, will be. So the place of not, that you should understand where the not should be put. Okay. So here in negative, it will be put after will, after your auxiliary verb. But when auxiliary verb you are using as question, there you will use it after subject, that is will you be, or will be you, that is incorrect. Will you be playing football, or will they be watching TV? I hope this is clear. Now let's see some certain questions that I have included. So try to solve these questions, and what you have to do is, the part is underlined in the sentences, so you have to select which part contains the error. So like although, who was, she is able to play piano, or there is no error, that you have to see. So read the whole sentence, and the underlined part, in the underlined part you have to find the error. Okay, so take at least 5 minutes and try to solve this. I hope you must have attempted these questions. So let's move to the solutions. Number 1, the sentence says, although he had never taken piano lessons. First you have to understand in which tense it is given. Although he had never, that means something it is in past. Although he had never taken piano lessons, any time that Jeff, who was unusually intelligent, sees a piano, he was able to play a song. Now tell me, when you are using the sentence in past tense, you should not use present. All right, sees, it is here the mistake. It is with sees. All right. So what is the correct answer in this? Sees. So in your option, this will be given like A, B, C, D, and E. E will be no error. And in number 1, it will be given although. In number 2, it will be given what is who was, and sees, and then able to play. All right. So you have to select the one that contains the error. So the C will be your correct answer. What should be the correct, why it is correct? Because the sentence is in past, so you cannot use present. So the entire sentence, it refers to past, and as we can tell, verb was. All right. If you cannot even comprehend from this, you should see from here something that is the event that refers to that something happened in the past. Who was unusually intelligent, and the verb was able to play. All right, here also was is given. So therefore the verb see should not be used, it should be saw. What is the second form of verb? That is saw. See, saw, seen. All right, with your simple past, what we use? Verb second form, so it will be saw. So what will be the correct sentence here? Although he had never taken piano lessons, any time that Jeff, who was unusually intelligent, saw a piano, he was able to play a song. All right. So this will be a correct answer. Moving towards question number 2. As soon as I booked my flight, I visit my friend in. See, as soon as I booked my flight, I visit my friends in New York. I am finding that all the prices for plane ticket were plummeting. See, here you can word new words for increasing. The prices for plane tickets, they were plummeting. Okay, plummeting, that you can say. So it will be your that means they were increasing. So the error will be in your I am finding. Since you can say as I booked, here from here itself you can see it is given in your second form of verb. As soon as I booked my flight ticket. So that's the reason I am finding, that will be incorrect. It should be I found. So what will be the correct sentence here? As soon as I booked my flight to visit my friends in New York, I found that all the prices for plane tickets were plummeting. Okay. Now, moving towards your number 3rd question. While most species of monkey live in tropical areas, there is a type of monkey that lives in northern Japan where it has snowed. Remember, the whole sentence, it is talking in the present sense. While most of the monkeys live in tropical area, there is, lives in northern Japan. So what will be the correct answer? It will be has snowed. That is the error. Now, given that rest of the sentence, it is in present sense, the underlined portion should be, so has should reply by snows only. Alright, where it snows. Remember that? With he, she, it, we use S form of verb. Like in present tense, what we talked about, that with he, that is the third person when you're talking about, you should use verb plus verb first form plus S or ES. ES will be used for does, do. So does will be the correct form. Hence the answer is your option number D, that is has snowed. In the place of has snowed, it should be snows. See, when sentences they are given, like when big sentences are given, so there it becomes quite like tedious to identify the error. So try to read the sentence like first time and then second time, and then you will be able to identify. First, identify in which tense it is given, number 1 thing. Second, identify that if the whole sentence it is given in past tense, then is there something that is like given in present or in future? Then you can identify, or like you can see if the rules that you have studied, like with past continuous or present continuous, verb first form and ing should come. So if ing is not there, then you also should see that. All right. So once you can frame the meaning of the sentence, you can easily identify the error in the sentence. Now let's move to number 4th. Here it is written, after several hours of futile research, Paco decided to then take a break. Though it looks correct, Paco decided to then, but but when you are referring to, then there should not be anything here. It should be to and the verb first form, to take or to bake or to eat. All right, then it can come after your Paco. It should be after several hours of futile research, Paco then decided to take a break before he would resume his research for pertinent data once again. Alright, so the error will be then. The infinitive that we talked about in our finite verbs, if you remember, the non-finite verb that if you remember, then infinitive, they talk in the sense with to. That is, with to, your first form of the verb, it should come, and there should not be anything between to and the verb. Alright, so it should not be split by then. If you wanted to keep then in the sentence, then you can write it here. Paco then decided to take. That will be your correct sense. But you cannot split the infinitive. Alright, you might place it after Paco and before decided. So this will be correct. So let's see, in this question you will find like what could be the error in this, because it looks totally correct. But if you know the rule with your to infinitive, then you will be like, it will be easy for you to identify the error. One more thing is, look, like in this sentence, in which tense it is given. After several hours of futile research, Paco decided. Here you can say that it is given in your past tense. Okay, now let's move to our fifth sentence. Next time I plan to look over my composition quick for faults before I turn it into my professor. So see, quick here, it is an adjective. If you remember, we also did this example in your adjective when we studied about adjective. So quick, it is an adjective and it is being used to describe look over. Here look over, it is given, the verb. So adjective, they cannot be used to describe verb. What describe? Adjective describes what? Noun or pronoun. But what describes verb? That is described by adverbs. Alright. So adverbs, they describe verb. So quick, it needs to be changed to quickly for the sentence to be correct. So what the correct sense will be? Next time I plan to look over my composition quickly for faults before I turn it into my professor. So that was the error in this question. So I hope you must have understood three things by now. Number one thing, when you have been given like a sentence and you know the rule of tense will be used here. So first thing is, you should find in which tense it is given. In which tense it is given. And second thing here you should identify is in which tense it is given, and second thing is you should see if there is the correct auxiliary is used, correct auxiliary verbs are used or not. Alright, and also you should see, like now we could identify that quick is an adjective, but here it is explaining the verb, that is look over. So you cannot use quick with it, you have to use quickly. That means adverb. Adverb explains your this verb, not adjective. Alright, so this rule that we could identify, we could like recall now, is because we studied it in our adjective only. So these are the two things that you should remember, that first in which tense it is given, and second you should identify the correct auxiliary verb. Alright, now let's move to the previous year question that were asked in your CLAT. And these are the question they were also asked in CLAT. They were from 2016. So let's see. Number one, it is given, you have to find the correct in this. So grammatically correct, that you have to find. Alright, and here also the same thing. So take 2 or 3 minutes, because these are not that tough, you can easily identify. I hope you must have attempted the question. So starting with number 1. See, I shall be doing. First of all, remember consonant, indefinite word and the definite word. Definite word. What we in the last lecture when we studied article, see everything it is used here. In one sentence only your article error has also occurred, and also your tense is also given and also noun. So when you have to identify where to use a and n, you will see with the sound and not with the letters, and not with letters. Here a should not come, and should come. Since MBA, MBA, so AM, MBA, the sound that you are getting, it is MBA, AEIOU, vowels. What should be the basically your verb? What should be the you can say article with your vowel? It should be an. So that's the reason this will be incorrect. Now I shall do, this is also incorrect. First of all, I shall be doing, it is referring to something that will happen in basically you can say future continuous, but it is not correct. Okay, since it is talking continue with my present job, so the present thing, that is also he is continuing, the person that is continuing, so it will be incorrect. Second thing, it will be incorrect since a is used. I shall do an MBA online and continue with my present job. This is correct. I shall do an MBA. First of all, article, it is correct, and continue with my present job, that is correct. Now D, what it is given? I shall do an MBA online but continuing with my present job. No, it is incorrect. First of all, this verb that is used here, it is future indefinite or future simple. Future indefinite, or you can say future simple. Future simple tense is used in this. Okay, so that's the reason it should be I shall do an MBA, the article, and continue with my present job. So your C will be correct. Alright, see, three things we have discussed in this. Number one, article, and number two, which tense it is used, I shall, and one more thing, with your I and your V. Only with I and V shall be used, otherwise will be used with your all the persons. First, second, third, whatever the person will be used. But here, shall, it should be used with only I, and we shall or I shall. Okay. Let's move to question number second. Tourists must follow the norms set upon the country they visit. Set upon, that means something that you are talking onto something. All right. So tourist must follow the norms. Here norms, it is talking in the sense of noun. Something that is rules, that is their norms. Alright. So tourist must follow the norms set upon. Upon is incorrect preposition used here. Tourist must follow norms set by country they visit. And then tourist must follow the norms set by country they visit. Tourist, first of all, tourist, that is correct, must follow the norms set by the country they visit. This will be correct. By, with by you are using the definite article, specific thing you are mentioning, like the specific country that you are visiting. So the will be used with country. So hence C will be your correct answer. Here the is not used, that is the reason it is incorrect. And in D, what it is given? Tourists must follow the norms set by the country they visits. It is a plural noun, so this will be incorrect. Okay. So hence the correct option will be C, that is tourists must follow the norms set by the country they visit. So I hope you must have understood why other options were not correct. Okay. Now let's move to question number third. Here also you have to identify the correct. So please stop interfering with. First of all, learn where you will use with. So with, it is used when you are basically mentioning like for something you are using together, or you can say accompanying by something. Like I can't eat bread with butter. So that's something you cannot eat with. Alright. Or accompanying. I will go with my mom, or I will go with my friend tomorrow. I am going with my friend tomorrow. Alright. So hence, please stop interfering please stop interfering with my romantic life. That will be totally incorrect. Second is, please stop interfering into. When into is used. Into is used when like something that is coming from outside to inside. Or in is used when it is already there within the space. Or you can say within something. But here it is the movement, it is happening, motion, but here it is already there. So this will be incorrect. Please stop interfering into my romantic life. Please stop interfering for my, this is totally correct. ये तो आप, this you can easily like discard. And D is please stop interfering in my romantic life. That means something that was already existing and you are saying there is no motion here. You are just saying like within the space that is existing. So romantic life, that is there. So please stop interfering in my romantic life. Into my romantic life, that will be incorrect. Hence your correct option will be option number D. Let's move to option number 4th. Your grammar is very good, but you need to work on correcting your pronunciation. This is correct. This will be your correct. Now let's see why other options are incorrect. Your grammar is very good, but you need to work on managing. Is managing the word when you use like you tell someone like manage your grammar, or you say correct your grammar. Hence the word that is used here, it is incorrect. Your grammar is very good, but you need to work on repairing. Repairing is used for motor vehicles or cars, alright, equipments. But here you're talking about your pronunciation, the grammar that you're using. This will also be modifying. No, it will also be incorrect. So correcting your grammar will be your correct answer. So I hope you must have understood the difference between your all of this. Like these are the type of questions that are asked. You can be given preposition in the same sentence, article. So remember, once you know the rules, you can easily identify. Okay. Now let's see what we have. Let's take a quick recap what we have discussed till now. So we have discussed present tense, past, and future. Only 2 we have discussed till now. That is here simple and here continuous. In the next video, we will talk about perfect and perfect continuous. So let's see in simple what we discussed. In simple present tense, subject. Let me erase it. I will use another color. Okay. So in simple, what we studied in present, that subject will be there plus verb first form. And I, you, they. Here you will use verb first form as it is. But he, she, it, you will use with S or ES, depending. Alright. He, she, it, S will be used, but with your do, your ES will be used. Now in continuous, what was there? Subject plus verb first form and ing. Alright. Talking about your past, here subject plus was, were, plus was, were, plus verb second form. And here it will be subject plus your was, were, plus verb first form and ing. Alright, and I also discussed with which you will with what person you will use was and were. Alright, now in future, what was there? Subject plus will or shall plus in simple what you will use? Verb first form, and here plus will and shall, with which you will use be as well, plus verb first form and ing. Alright, so this was all that was basically that we discussed today. This is a small recap. So in the next video, we will talk about the remaining topics, that is past perfect and past perfect continuous. Both we will talk. Alright, and we will also discuss the questions that were asked in your basically these exams. So we will discuss some questions related to DUJAT as well, and also some questions that were asked in your CLAT or your All India Law Entrance exam. So thank you so much, and keep learning and keep sharing.